There are moments in life when you feel lost, tired, and broken. When your prayers seem unanswered and your heart whispers, "Why me?" You look around and see people rising while you keep falling. You give your best yet face only storms. But let me tell you something. It's not the storm that's breaking you. It's shaping you. It's preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. Stay. Don't give up, because your story is still being written by the one who never makes mistakes. In a world that constantly tells you to chase more money, more attention, more validation, we often forget the most valuable treasure of all, inner peace. The power of inner peace is not loud. It doesn't demand attention, nor does it compete for recognition. It's the quiet strength that allows you to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. It's the calm voice that whispers, "Keep going," even when your heart is breaking. Inner peace is not the absence of problems. It's the ability to remain centered in the midst of chaos, to smile even when the storm rages, and to trust that every challenge has meaning. True strength does not come from how much you can control. It comes from your ability to surrender what you cannot. People often mistake peace for weakness, thinking calmness means you've given up. But in reality, inner peace is a declaration that you are no longer a slave to what you can't change. It's a state of power, the kind of power that comes when you've made peace with the past, accepted the present, and trust the future. You stop allowing people's opinions to shape your mood. You stop letting the temporary define your eternity. And you begin to understand that peace is not something to be found. It's something to be protected. Every day we are surrounded by noise, expectations, disappointments, fears, comparisons. Social media tells you who to be. Society tells you what to have. And failure whispers that you're not enough. But the moment you decide to silence the noise and listen to your soul, you begin to see the truth. Peace is not out there. It's within you. The heart that remembers its purpose, the mind that trusts its creator, and the soul that believes in divine timing. These are the foundations of unshakable peace. When you stop chasing what was never meant for you, what is truly meant for you begins to flow effortlessly into your life. Inner peace also comes from perspective. You start to see life not as punishment, but as preparation. The moments that broke you were not meant to destroy you, but to strengthen the roots of your faith. When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" everything begins to change. You stop reacting and start reflecting. You stop fearing the storm and start learning how to dance in the rain. Because the truth is, peace doesn't come when life gets easier. It comes when you learn to stay grounded no matter how hard life becomes. The people who walk with peace radiate something rare. You can feel it in their words, in their silence, and in their presence. They don't need to prove anything. They don't rush, and they don't compete. Their contentment is their crown. You see, real power is not in dominating others. It's in mastering yourself. It's in controlling your anger when you could explode, in forgiving when you could seek revenge, in staying humble when you could boast. That is true power, the kind that transforms not only your life, but the lives of everyone who meets you. Inner peace doesn't mean life won't test you. It means that no matter what life throws your way, you respond with grace instead of panic. It's not a one-time achievement, but a daily choice. Every morning, you decide whether to be controlled by your emotions or guided by your purpose. You choose whether to dwell in anxiety or rest in trust. And each time you choose peace, you choose strength. You build resilience, you attract clarity, and you align yourself with everything good that's written for you. When you live with inner peace, your world begins to transform. The same problems may still exist, but they no longer have power over you. You sleep better, you think clearer, and you love deeper. Your smile becomes more genuine, and your presence becomes healing. You start to understand that the most beautiful victories are the ones no one sees. The battles you win within yourself. Because the most powerful person in any room is not the one who speaks the loudest, but the one whose soul is at peace. So protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Don't let the world disturb what took you years to build. Remember, peace is not a destination you arrive at. It's a way of walking through life. It's a light you carry inside one that grows brighter every time you choose faith over fear, patience over anger, and love over bitterness. That light, once ignited, becomes unstoppable. And when your heart is at peace, no storm, no failure, no betrayal, no pain can ever truly shake you again. Every human being at some point faces storms that seem impossible to survive. The moments when the world feels heavy on your shoulders, when your prayers echo back in silence, and when your heart breaks in ways words cannot explain. Those are the moments that test your strength, your patience, and your faith. Yet, in those very moments of darkness lies the seed of transformation. Hardships are not punishments, they are preparations. Every wound, every delay, every closed door is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and closer to your purpose. You see, life was never meant to be easy. Ease never produces greatness. Struggle does. Diamonds are created under pressure, not comfort. The fire that refines gold doesn't destroy it, it removes its impurities. In the same way, the challenges you face are not there to break you, but to reveal the gold within you. Sometimes, what feels like the end is actually the beginning of something extraordinary. The pain you feel today could be the reason you rise tomorrow. Every time life knocks you down, it's giving you a chance to rise differently, with more courage, more faith, and more depth. When hardship comes, it's easy to fall into despair and question, why me? But the truth is, even the strongest souls are tested because they are capable of carrying what others cannot. The storm you're in today may be the very path that will guide someone else tomorrow. Every tear you shed is watering the seeds of your destiny. Your pain is never wasted. It teaches you endurance, empathy, and perspective, lessons that no comfort could ever teach. Overcoming hardship is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about standing tall when everything around you tries to pull you down. It's about facing fear with faith and pain with patience. It's realizing that your strength is not in avoiding struggles, but in refusing to give up in the middle of them. Every great story in history was written through hardship, and so is yours. You are being refined by trials so you can carry the light that others will one day follow. There's a silent beauty in endurance. When you suffer in silence, yet keep walking with hope, something sacred happens within you. You start to understand that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. You begin to see that what once broke you is now building you. The sleepless nights, the silent cries, the moments when no one understood, they're all part of your becoming. One day, you'll look back and realize that those tears were not signs of weakness. They were signs of strength, proof that you kept believing even when you had every reason to give up. Many people think overcoming hardship means escaping pain, but that's not true. It means learning to find meaning within it. It means realizing that the greatest blessings often come disguised as trials. The door that closed was saving you from something that wasn't meant for you. The people who left made space for the ones who truly care. The loss that shattered you was redirecting you towards something greater. Every hardship carries a hidden mercy. You just have to trust long enough to see it. Sometimes you're not meant to understand the why right away. The lessons reveal themselves in time. What feels like delay may actually be protection. What feels like failure may be redirection. And what feels like loss may be the start of liberation. The key is to keep moving forward even when you can't see the full path. Faith means walking even when the road is dark, believing that each step is guided by something greater than yourself. When you learn to face hardship with gratitude instead of resentment, life begins to change. You start to notice that pain doesn't define you. It refines you. You become softer in heart, but stronger in spirit. You stop asking, when will this end? And start saying, what can I learn from this? And in that shift, you unlock peace even in the middle of chaos. So when life tests you, don't lose hope. Don't curse the struggle. Embrace it. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every storm you survive is proof that your purpose is greater than your pain. You have already overcome more than you give yourself credit for. You are still standing, still breathing, still trying, and that alone is victory. Remember, no hardship lasts forever, but the strength it gives you will. What breaks others builds you. What once felt like an ending will one day be the reason you shine. Keep going, because your breakthrough is often hidden behind your hardest battle. There comes a moment in every life when fear begins to whisper louder than faith, when the future seems uncertain, when everything you planned falls apart, and when the world feels too heavy to hold. In those moments, fear tells you to give up, to stop hoping, to believe that you've reached the end. But faith, even in its smallest spark, says, hold on, there is something beyond what you can see. That whisper of faith, quiet, steady, and unwavering, has the power to move mountains that fear could never climb. Faith is not the absence of fear. It's the courage to walk through fear, believing that something greater is guiding your steps. You may not see the full path. You may not understand the reason behind the delay, but faith teaches you to take the next step anyway. It's about trusting the process even when you can't see the outcome. Fear paralyzes you, convincing you that your story is over. Faith frees you, reminding you that every ending is simply a beginning in disguise. In life, you will always stand at the crossroads between faith and fear. One leads you toward peace, the other toward panic. Fear says, what if it all goes wrong? Faith says, even if it does, I'll rise again. Fear looks at the storm and sees destruction. Faith looks at the same storm and sees growth. The difference between the two isn't the situation, it's the perspective. Faith doesn't promise an easy life, but it promises a meaningful one. It's the light that keeps you moving when everything else turns dark. Think of how often fear has stopped you from taking a risk, from speaking your truth, from believing in yourself. It tells you that you're not enough, that you'll fail, that your past defines your future. But faith silences those lies. It reminds you that you were never meant to carry life alone. You were meant to trust, to surrender, and to walk with unseen confidence. Every time you choose faith over fear, something in the universe shifts. Doors open that logic can't explain. Opportunities appear where none existed. Peace enters where anxiety once lived. There will be times when faith feels impossible, when you've prayed and waited and still nothing changes, when your heart breaks and no comfort seems to reach you. But that's when faith truly begins. When you trust not because you see the result, but because you believe in the wisdom behind the waiting. Faith is believing that even silence is an answer. It's knowing that the delay is not denial, but preparation. It's understanding that what's meant for you will never miss you, no matter how long it takes. Fear feeds on doubt. It grows when you focus on what you lack, what you've lost, or what could go wrong. Faith, on the other hand, grows when you focus on what remains, the breath in your lungs, the lessons in your scars, the strength that pain built within you. Faith doesn't always change your situation instantly, but it always changes you. It strengthens your heart, sharpens your vision, and deepens your connection with purpose. You see, fear limits you to the visible world, what you can calculate, predict, and control. Faith connects you to the unseen, to miracles, to possibilities, to divine timing. When you live with faith, you begin to understand that life is not random. Every detour has meaning, every heartbreak has a lesson, and every fall has a purpose. The moments that seemed like the end were actually the turning points leading you towards something better. Choosing faith doesn't mean you won't feel afraid. It means you refuse to let fear decide your future. It means you walk into the unknown with peace in your heart, trusting that even if the road gets rough, you are being guided toward what's best for you. Faith teaches you to look at obstacles and say, this too has wisdom. It teaches you to rise after falling, to smile after crying, and to keep going when everything tells you to stop. So when fear surrounds you, remember this: you are never alone. The one who created you is still writing your story, and no storm can erase what's destined for you. Close your eyes, take a breath, and walk forward. Because faith doesn't make life perfect, it makes it possible. And when you choose faith over fear, you don't just survive, you transform. You begin to see that even in the darkest night, there's always a dawn waiting to rise. Every soul is born with a purpose, a divine assignment that gives meaning to life beyond wealth, fame, or comfort. Yet, most people spend their lives chasing what fades, forgetting what truly matters. The truth is, your purpose is not about what you get from the world. It's about what you give to it. The greatest life is not one filled with luxury, but one filled with service. Service to humanity, kindness to others, and sincerity in every act. True purpose is not found in being known by millions. It's found in making even one life better because you existed. When you live only for yourself, your world becomes small, fragile, and easily shaken. But when you begin to live for others, to uplift, to help, to inspire, your life expands beyond measure. You start to feel a deep fulfillment that no amount of money could ever buy. The more you serve, the more you grow. The more you give, the more peace you find. Because every act of service connects you to something eternal, to a legacy that lives long after you're gone. Purpose doesn't always come as a loud calling or a dramatic revelation. Sometimes it's hidden in the smallest moments. Comforting someone in pain, smiling at a stranger, forgiving when you could hate. These moments might seem ordinary, but in the eyes of eternity, they carry unimaginable weight. Every kind word, every act of generosity, every selfless deed sends ripples across the world that you may never see, but they matter deeply. You never know whose life you're touching, whose heart you're healing, or whose faith you're restoring just by being kind. Living with purpose means waking up each day asking not, what do I want from life, but what does life want from me? It means aligning your actions with values that outlive you. It means realizing that real success is not how high you climb, but how many people you lift along the way. The world measures greatness by what you achieve for yourself, but heaven measures greatness by what you do for others. When you serve with a sincere heart, you become a vessel of hope in a hopeless world, a source of light in the darkest night. There is a silent joy that comes from serving others. It humbles the ego, softens the heart, and purifies the soul. You begin to see that giving is not losing, it's gaining. Helping others doesn't drain you, it fills you. You feel alive in a way that success alone could never give you. When you start using your gifts not just to build your life, but to better the lives of others, you unlock a purpose far greater than yourself. And that's when life truly begins to feel meaningful. But purpose also requires patience. You won't always see the results of your efforts. You might give love and receive rejection. You might offer help and be taken for granted. Yet don't stop. Keep doing good, not for recognition, but because goodness itself is the reward. Every act done with sincerity is recorded in the unseen, even when no one notices. Know that your Creator does. You are not responsible for how people treat you. You are responsible for how purely you serve. Some of the most purposeful people in history were not the ones who ruled nations or had the loudest voices. They were the ones who quietly changed lives, who fed the hungry, forgave their enemies, and spread kindness wherever they went. They understood that the value of a life is measured not in possessions, but in compassion. When your heart beats for the well-being of others, when your actions heal rather than harm, you are walking in true purpose. So ask yourself today, what legacy do you want to leave behind? When people remember you, what do you want them to feel? If you live to serve, your name may fade, but your impact will echo through generations. Because every act of service plants a seed, and those seeds grow into forests of goodness long after you're gone. Your purpose is waiting in the lives you're meant to touch. Find it, embrace it, and live it fully. The world doesn't need more successful people. It needs more compassionate ones. And when you live not just to exist, but to serve, you'll discover the deepest truth of all. That by lifting others, you rise yourself. Forgiveness is one of the hardest acts of the heart, yet it is also the most liberating. It takes far more strength to forgive than to seek revenge. The world often teaches us that power comes from control, from retaliation, from proving others wrong. But real power lies in the ability to let go. It lies in choosing mercy when your heart aches for justice. It lies in freeing yourself from the prison of resentment that only harms the one holding it. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was right. It's saying that you refuse to let it poison your soul any longer. Every person carries scars, some visible, some buried deep within. Betrayal, loss, lies, disappointment. These wounds can harden the heart if left untreated. But forgiveness is the medicine that heals them. When you forgive, you're not declaring that the other person deserves it. You're declaring that you deserve peace. Holding on to anger doesn't punish your enemy. It punishes you. It steals your sleep, your joy, your energy. Forgiveness, on the other hand, restores your freedom. It's an act of strength, not surrender. It's choosing to rise above the pain rather than be buried beneath it. Mercy is the higher path, the one only the strong can take. When you choose mercy over revenge, you reflect a divine quality within you. You rise to a level where your soul no longer reacts but responds with wisdom. There's a quiet dignity in mercy, in sparing someone when you could have hurt them, in staying kind when you had every reason to turn cold. That kind of grace doesn't make you weak, it makes you powerful beyond measure. Because every act of mercy plants a seed of healing, not just in others, but in your own heart. There are people who will hurt you without remorse. They will walk away without apology, leaving you to carry the weight of what they did. But that is where forgiveness becomes your shield. It protects your spirit from bitterness and allows you to move forward unbroken. Forgiveness doesn't mean you allow the same person to hurt you again. It means you let go of the emotional chain that ties you to the past. You stop reliving the pain and start reclaiming your peace. It's not about forgetting what happened, it's about refusing to let it define you. Mercy extends even beyond people. It's a way of living. It's found in how you treat those weaker than you, how you speak about others, how you respond to mistakes, even your own. To be merciful is to understand that everyone is fighting a battle you cannot see. It's realizing that we all stumble, we all fail, we all seek redemption. When you learn to give others the grace you wish to receive, you not only lighten their load, but also cleanse your heart of arrogance. True mercy humbles you. It makes you more human, more compassionate, and more connected to the goodness that still exists in this world. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You replay the mistakes, the words you wish you hadn't said, the opportunities you lost. But you must remember, self-forgiveness is also an act of mercy. You cannot grow if you keep punishing yourself for the person you once were. Every failure was a lesson, every regret a teacher. The same mercy you show to others, you must extend to yourself. You are still learning, still growing, still becoming. Be gentle with your heart. Forgiveness and mercy are the bridges that connect humanity. Without them, we become trapped in cycles of hatred and pain. With them, we build peace where none existed. They transform enemies into teachers, pain into wisdom, and wounds into strength. You will never regret forgiving, but you will always regret holding on to resentment. Forgiveness may not change the past, but it changes the weight of the past on your soul. So choose mercy, not because others deserve it, but because peace deserves to live inside you. Choose forgiveness, not because it's easy, but because your soul was never meant to carry hate. Let go of the bitterness, the grudges, the need to prove a point. Walk away lighter. The more mercy you show, the more peace you attract. And one day, you'll realize that forgiveness wasn't about freeing them. It was about freeing yourself. That is the true victory of the heart, the quiet triumph of a soul that chose peace over pride. In a world that constantly tells you to want more, buy more, and be more, it takes true wisdom to pause and say, I already have enough. Gratitude is the secret language of peace, and simplicity is its purest expression. Together, they transform ordinary moments into miracles. Gratitude is not about having everything you want, it's about seeing the beauty in what you already have. Simplicity is not about living with less, it's about living with what truly matters. When you learn to appreciate the small things, you discover that life was never meant to be complicated, it was meant to be meaningful. Every day, we are surrounded by blessings we forget to notice. The breath in our lungs, the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the food on our table. We chase what's far and overlook what's near. We dream of what's missing and ignore what's present. But the moment you begin to count your blessings instead of your problems, something powerful happens inside you. Your heart softens, your mind clears. The world that once felt heavy starts to feel lighter. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances, it changes your perspective. And that changes everything. Simplicity goes hand in hand with gratitude. When you live simply, you strip away the noise of excess, the endless comparison, the greed, the need for validation. You begin to see life not as a race, but as a gift. You start valuing time over money, peace over possessions, presence over perfection. Simplicity teaches you that happiness isn't found in what you own, but in how you live. It reminds you that the most beautiful moments are often the quiet ones. A sincere conversation, a walk at sunset, a prayer whispered in peace. Gratitude is the root of contentment. The more thankful you are, the more fulfilled you become. People often think happiness comes from getting what they want, but happiness actually comes from wanting what they already have. When your heart is grateful, you stop chasing temporary pleasures and start cherishing eternal values. You stop looking for happiness outside yourself because you realize it has been within you all along. Gratitude turns the ordinary into sacred, and simplicity gives it space to breathe. There is incredible freedom in simplicity. You no longer live to impress others, but to please your own soul. You stop comparing your journey to others because you understand that every path is written differently. You stop measuring your worth by what you have and start measuring it by what you give. The simple life doesn't mean doing less, it means doing what truly matters. It's living intentionally, focusing on what adds meaning and letting go of what drains your peace. A grateful person sees opportunity in every challenge, while an ungrateful one sees complaint in every blessing. Gratitude doesn't blind you to pain, but it helps you find purpose within it. Even in the hardest times, there is something to be thankful for. The strength to endure, the lessons learned, the chance to start again. When you focus on gratitude, fear loses its grip and joy finds its way back in. It's impossible to be bitter and grateful at the same time. One pushes peace away, the other invites it home. Gratitude also deepens your connection with people. When you truly appreciate others, their kindness, their presence, their support, your relationships blossom. Simple gestures, sincere words, and acts of appreciation build bridges stronger than any material gift. The heart that gives thanks is a heart that gives love. And love, in its simplest form, is what makes life worth living. Simplicity and gratitude also bring you closer to your spiritual essence. When you detach from the world's noise and focus on what's eternal, you begin to see life through a clearer lens. You stop rushing. You stop worrying. You start trusting. You realize that peace was never hidden. It was just buried under layers of distraction. Living simply allows your soul to breathe. Living gratefully allows your soul to shine. So slow down, look around, notice the small things that make life beautiful. The laughter of a child, the calmness of dawn, the comfort of faith, the gift of another day. These are not small blessings, they are everything. The richest person is not the one with the most possessions, but the one with the most gratitude. The happiest life is not the one that has everything, but the one that values every little thing. When you choose gratitude and simplicity, you step into a life of peace. You stop chasing the illusion of more and start living in the abundance that already surrounds you. You begin to understand that true wealth is not in your hands, but in your heart. Gratitude turns every breath into a prayer, and simplicity turns every moment into a blessing. Together, they form the foundation of a life that is not just lived, but deeply, beautifully, and peacefully felt.